Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The scenario is called The Fragments. It was written by Steffen Schütte and translated into English by Pascal Breitenfeld, who is also our game master. This is episode 10. Our recap will be given by David Gasway as his character, Hans Peter Locke. So, without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. David, sorry.
It's all right. Thanks, Tom. Dearest Gudrun, we have yet to locate your father, but I remain in good spirits about the prospect of meeting him this weekend at the Rifle Festival, assuming I am free to attend. A brief summary of recent events will clarify what I mean and suggest how astonishing our situation has become. After the tense meeting with the mayor and some deliberation, we left to make our appointment with Joch, the funeral director, whose family has long been involved with strange events in this region. I didn't attend the meeting myself. On the way there, I saw the crone, Mina, talking with some school children. I darted after them and found one of the girls biting into an apple and making a face at the flavor. I snatched the apple away and threw it over a fence, giving them a mark to buy untainted apples themselves. Herring after the old woman, I went to her shack in the community garden for tea. She seemed an amiable soul, if dotty. I asked her about the last festival, at which there appears to have been a mysterious tent fire. I found two astonishing things: the pot of toadstools she had cooked to poison the apple, and a fortune in company stock she was using to patch a hole in her roof. I offered to handle the shares for her and took my leave, barely in time to find the poisoned girl. The others had left Joch by this time. When they met him, he was discussing, with a woman and a wheelchair-bound man, some unspecified arrangements to be made with the parents of the other murdered children, Hans and Greta. Our friends went in and met Frau Joch, who appears to have suffered a stroke and does not speak. Joch showed them the ceremonial necklace of golden coins, a veritable dragon's hoard, including coins from the dream cities. Herr Henning got him alone and mentioned the fabulous Bokrug and Ib, and Joch feigned innocence. When we met around the fallen child, Herr von Arenberg once again made like a medical man and may have saved the child's life. Into the scrum of villagers came Constable Volberg, and we went off to the police station. The story of the stock certificates came out when Mina was brought in, along with her toadstool curry, and now I am being held on dubious charges, while the mayor tries to find out how to separate her from her fortune. More on the stock certificates when I see you in person. The festival is almost upon us. All will come clear. Do remain hopeful. I do. Yours, Hans.
Thank you very much, Hans. So Hans is a little bit inconvenient sitting in the city jail in one of the holding cells, and in another cell, like across the hallway, there is the old lady, the old Mina, sitting in there. She seems to be pretty disturbed and is like muttering to herself as the evening goes on. And at some point she looks at you and, oh, young man, I hope I didn't. It's not my fault that you're here.
I think, I mean, it is just part of what happens here every 6 decades or so. Whatever made you gather those toadstools?
I still even can't. I don't know why I did this. This is so strange. Yeah.
These things happen in this village. It's a very strange region you live in.
Well, yeah. It's. Didn't you ask about like 60 years ago? I told you about the fire, didn't I?
Yes, lightning on a sunny day.
And Well, and I thought about that, and after that fire, one thing I remember about that year, there were all those young women. Well, they didn't talk about it at that time. You have to remember how long that has been. There were rumors that a lot of girls, well, they brought shame on their families, and they were hidden away. I think that there were quite a few childs born out of wedlock the next year.
Were the unfathered children, did they seem like everyone else, or did they seem strange in some way?
Well, that's one of the strange things, that was all hushed up, and I wouldn't even be able to tell you who where those kids went. They, if I remember, a lot of them were taken up by foster families the next year. And I can remember there were well, quite a couple of those poor things. They went and took their lives. Well, the poor girls who,
right, they were so ashamed. I mean, it was not a modern time like ours in the 1920s.
Yes.
That is another local tragedy. Strange the way these things happen. My friends would be interested to hear about this if they're allowed to visit me. Do you think we'll be here very long?
I don't know. I've never been in jail. Oh my God. And she starts crying, basically. So let's switch over, unless you want to. Let's switch over to the others. If I remember correctly, you searched Mina's house again.
I think we're going back to the station.
Yeah, and you had I think you had some plans.
We were gonna go see if we could meet Hans again, and then depending on how many people are in the station, because they might have just left them in the cells and left to go home. Small town, relatively small town after all. We just go see the archives over there.
What if there is a commonality? All of the people who've been doing weird and terrible things, poisoning children. What if there's got a common person? Let's say Mina and somebody else has an enemy, and they are using some sort of mind control, or
what if it's like a generational thing, where it's like, if it's like supposedly a thing happens every so many years, it's someone related to something all far back ever, so it's like a generational curse or some nonsense.
I don't know about curse, but if it's a curse, then we have no way of determining anything. If it's somebody who's actively attacking these people and making them commit atrocities, we should find out who that common person is, and then we'd have a direction to go in to maybe stop them.
The problem is it might be multiple, because it could be just certain people of the various Thai society clubs around.
It could be all nonsense, but what else do we have to go on?
Hey, Daniel, when we went to see Mina the first time and she wasn't in her hut, didn't the gentleman that we did speak to, didn't he say he wishes he could get her out of there?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was mostly because she had the unkept house in the middle of all the gardens.
Well, that's what he told us.
What he said.
True. But it also might be just she's someone from far back to know something, yeah.
For some petty person who has mind control powers, that's a reason to get rid of somebody.
True.
But did he also hate the other woman that ate the children?
So, Detective Henning, are you suggesting that Mr. Lack was one of these victims, that perhaps he offended the wrong person? Try to get him into trouble?
There is something that I'm now something else is tying in. All of the stuff about stories, about fairy tales and things like that are tying into these stories. What if it's the dreaming girl and she's dreaming about fairy tales that she's been told, and somehow she's subconsciously causing people
Pen.
to do these things?
You give me an idea. What
It's imposing
it's-
itself on their minds.
what if it's the situation of, I think we talked about this previously, but what if the mend between our world and the dreaming world gets thinner every 58 years, and because of that, someone that's in the dreaming world starts violently influencing the real world?
Well, do we have a firm timeline in place as to when these odd events started happening versus the young girl falling into the coma, for example?
Well, it does seem like we would have heard something about it in the newspaper if it was happening before. It seems like our arrival,
So
all these weird things start.
our first experience was me and Mr. Lack on the train. We had a dream.
Right before we got here,
Before
and
we
don't
got
forget
here.
we had this
It might have
Sleeping Beauty before we got here.
It might have to do with this place and that we're here. It's
Well,
just we started noticing because everyone else just ignores it until it happens.
Well,
Until it's too
one of the
violent.
things you mentioned, Carl, was power from the dreaming doing something here. Remember the old school teacher, the ex-school teacher, told us that he was very surprised to see the Sandman here, that the Sandman should only be in the dreaming.
But if I can remind everybody that, I'm sorry, Jim, what's the name of the gentleman we're looking for?
Professor Erling.
Erling, right?
Yeah.
Gentlemen, remember Professor Erling had some sort of eureka moment.
And he got here also at the same time.
something. He
And
discovered some sort of secret.
Hans brought up that like he was reading a book about people that believed in the Dreamlands and
And
some
he had-
deity in the
he-
Dreamlands and
if-
so on.
And he had
If we-
unusual, unorthodox views on fairy tales that
If
offended.
we have a record of when things occurred, I wonder if when you were on the train and you had your first vivid dream, if the professor had already arrived and started
That's when
talking to the girl, and that's when she fell into her coma and started projecting.
She tried to do an occult ritual because she was kind of really into the occult. She had a
Right.
part of
But
the
if she
second
started
occult,
projecting at that point, because that would be a starting point for all the weirdness going on.
true. So there's always a bleed over every 58 years. There's always a sinkhole that happens that commemorates something. There's always been things that have happened.
I mean,
So it's
you're
like-
right. Maybe it's somebody doing something to her. But 68-year gap.
And where the heck is the professor?
That's a good question.
Could it
We
be-
found
I
nothing
mean,
on
maybe
it.
he ties it all together.
If it's a 68-year gap, can we assume then
58
that
year.
it's not, or 58-year, it's not a single person. It's probably an artifact, something that they have accidentally activated. Maybe that's what the girl
It
activated.
might be also those coins.
I
Some of the
wonder
Could be
how
the
many
coins.
coins are on the chain.
It might be
Do
tethering
a-
this part to the dreams.
Daniel.
We're
Do
also
an
probably, I
idea
guess,
roll.
walking around town. Idea roll, sure.
Well, there were definitely some Ibian coins.
All right, let's see. Does level of success matter in this case?
Not really.
39 out of 60 for idea.
Okay, so that's a success. As you're talking about an artifact and the coins and everything, when you were at this cobbler's shop and where they in the dream where they
Right.
made your shoes, one of the last ones of them said something about destroying what binds their world, your world to ours.
It is a tether. It is a tether. Remember? I know it might be a little hard to remember because it was a lot. It was in that dream, and then we had to walk for days. But those cobblers, those dwarves, I think they told us about how we have to get rid of what tethers this town to the dreaming world.
It's the coins. It's got to be
It's
the
binding
coins.
this. It's binding this world and the dreams together. But there might be something else. But that might be the start of it. Perhaps the records might also have something else involved, but mostly like those coins. But we have to.
Are we allowed to join the rifle?
No, we have to be
competition?
citizens of the town. It means we have to do it on the festival when he has it in the open.
And
Or
when is
break in when
when
he.
is the festival, GM? How many days from now?
It's Wednesday night now, and the festival will start on Friday.
It means two things. One, we should probably go. Prince, you should probably go back to your. You should probably go back to your hotel room so you're not involved when we do something. But I think we should go pay Hans a visit and see if there's records of anything about it, because it's probably those coins. But I don't think breaking into Yoke's home. You said he put it in a safe, right, Hen?
He
Also-
put it in a safe,
Yeah.
and he has the key on around his neck.
Yeah.
and,
So it's like
it has a combination as well.
that will take. Even if I had the key, that would take hours.
And do recall the mayor seems to be trying to hide something. So this town has some secrets.
I think they've been monopolizing that their town is tethered to the dreaming world somehow, and they've just been kind of keeping it hush hush.
But what kind
What?
of, but what benefit? I mean, are
I
they?
Yeah,
don't know,
are they
but like
making
that's the
money
only thing that
off
makes
of it, or-
sense.
What's okay, you wanted to go with the Hans again. Probably. Is there anything else anybody could do? Well,
Tom, I can hardly understand you.
Is your mic unplug?
oh. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
That's a bit better, yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't plug in all the way. Do we all have, I mean, we're all concerned for Hans, but they probably won't let us all in at the same time anyway. So
No,
maybe
but
somebody can do something else.
Right now the building's closed, so I think I would say to say hi to him on the way to seeing the archives, because right now I think
Oh.
because
Well,
right now I don't think
there's probably a barred window. He can stand there like this.
I guess depends. It's like, well, I'm gonna go see if there's anyone stationed in the middle of the night there now. So
As much as I would
we
like to
could do
help,
like in the old movies. We could blow the whole back wall off of the building and
no,
rescue Hans.
I don't think we can getting out of the cell. I just need to go.
as much as I would like to help Mr. Lack, I am an attorney, so it's important that I
Go get
maintain
some sleep.
impeccable credentials. I'm sorry, I have to refrain from any sort of
Go get to
illegal,
sleep, and we'll tell you how it
questionable
goes.
wrongdoings.
Of course.
Boy,
I have a
that
question for the
sounds-
GM. My question for the GM is, since I don't exactly understand the way things work, I assume American stuff, but it's not the same there. Is there a superior I could go to, somebody more important than the mayor or the police chief, like the governor? I don't know if they have governors or.
Well, basically, there is like the next level of government, which in this case would be in most likely Brunswick. There would be one way to basically appeal to the officials or to appeal to the court.
Wish I had friends.
It's not an independent fiefdom, although the mayor seems to act
like it is.
Yeah.
Might be in the dreaming worlds.
All right, well, let's all go say hi to Hans. Jailbird Hans.
So the three of you go to back to the town hall.
Or any lights
Um,
on, I guess, besides where the jail cells are.
Well, from the front, you don't see any lights on.
So what time is it now then?
Oh, it'd be like
It's like
something
pitch
like
dark.
10, 10:30.
Yeah, all right.
So it seems quite dark. Couple of people are strolling down the street. Might just be getting back from a bar or something.
Let's go find a secluded side entrance to the building.
Well, yeah, I think you staked out the building before, and there's a back entrance.
Let's take that one.
Well, you're gonna break into the.
I mean, it's already closed.
I thought we were just going to visit Hans. We can talk to him through the barred window. What are you
guess
thinking?
because it's like we had to
Daniel?
get inside to get the archives. The goal was to see Hans on the way, just to see if he was okay. If they didn't like beat him up or something.
His cell doesn't have a window.
You know that breaking in, we will be committing a crime, which they will lock us up for.
I know, but at this point, this is kind of the only opportunity to do so, because otherwise they're just going to watch us everywhere we go, and we can't do anything about it.
I feel like the conversation we just had kind of changes my earlier feeling, because I was agreeing with Daniel that this was our best option, but now I feel like we need to get back to the Dreamlands
And get her out of
and
that tower.
find whoever's wearing these coins there and see what we can do, or I think it's all tied up in the coins, and
Yeah,
they'll
we
let
have
Hans
to-
out tomorrow.
It just means we're gonna have to, I guess, cause a fuss and go, I guess, smash all those coins at the festival.
We
Yeah, I
found
think
coins there that teleported us here. Yes,
And it
That-
woke us up when we found
mentally.
it. Yeah, it sent us back.
yeah, as soon as we
How-
grab the
how-
coin.
How did the coins get from the dream world to this world?
sinkholes.
That's
I think. Because it's like
That is an important question.
true.
I mean, a powerful enough wizard or witch might be able to bring them from the dream world, but
I mean,
we probably have to take them
that
back.
that professor did mention that there's ways to have portals between our world and the dream world. It's just they're very rare. So maybe it's someone brought it through. But
I think that breaking in's a really dangerous thing.
true, because also breaking into
where are you gonna
Yellowstone
look?
is just a mess. Well, the archives, but yeah.
You're going to go to the archives and look at what? There's probably 15 filing cabinets full of
Fair
stuff.
enough.
that
We would need all of us to just dig through it for hours, and that's just an ordeal itself. Yeah, fair enough.
Oh,
We're not nothing. There's no easy choice to make right now. I guess we'll just go sleep.
I want to go where they're setting up for the festival.
Actually, yeah.
And look around, even though it's dark, even though nobody's there.
One of us
Yeah,
better with a
that's no
flashlight.
problem. The club home of the rifle club is situated basically in between the big graveyard where you visited the yacht fellow. So you went past that. There's a like a big fairground, just a big space where they will most likely set up the fair. There's quite some decorations put up already, and they have the shooting range basically on the side.
And is there anything unusual about any of it? Or does it just look like
Not really.
not really?
It's what you would expect from a small town.
Well, what I'll do is I'll take a mental picture of it so that I
Mhm.
can understand. If I need to do anything tactical, I know
Yeah.
that this is here and this is here and this is here
Yeah.
and this is here. And I could
No
hide
problem.
there or I could hide there or, you know.
Well, it's
All right.
basically imagine a big space where there will be a lot of most likely a lot of the fairground booths. So
Yeah.
there will be a space uh, to hide and to move around. And they have started to put up the big fair tent where they will most likely have the celebration and dance.
Yeah. It's like a big tent.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
like big pavilion.
Okay.
Pavilion.
There was
I
that.
don't know what to do, folks.
There
Other
was
than
that
just
note about.
go to the dreams.
There was that note about how someone, I think, keeper. It was a person for the rifle tent got changed recently. Someone new.
Yeah, the on the list of showmen, there was one name crossed out, the proprietor of the right of a shooting booth, and there was a note under it that Mr. Meyer just recently bought the business.
Okay. That might come up later when we have to deal with it at the fair, but
We
know
we didn't think of this, but we might meet Hans in the Dreamlands.
I mean, I expected
Just
so.
hook up with him there.
That Walter mentioned that to me earlier.
Then he can tell us that stuff that he wants to tell us that he can't tell us because he's locked up.
Yeah.
So you go back to the hotel?
Yeah.
I think so.
How
We
late
went
is
the
it?
back way so like the officer outside
Well,
doesn't notice us.
You've been snooping around a little bit, so it'll be like 11:30 now.
Okay, yeah, hotel.
Yeah, like you said, through the back door so that the guy's watching doesn't see us.
It's like a prince has been walking around in our hotel rooms to make it appear that we're all still there.
All of you that are on their way, do a luck roll.
Oh, fail. I'm the biggest, clunkiest
I
detective.
barely made it, but I made it by 2 points.
My luck is 47 and I rolled 47.
Okay.
I
Well, that's good.
I got 41 out of 50. I got 54 out of 55. So it's like, oh boy.
So the two of you, when you get back to the hotel, you just get into that back alley, and you notice a peculiar couple that is coming down the street behind you. There are not a lot of people on the street at this point anymore, but there seems to be somebody pushing a wheelchair down the street.
Oh,
Down the alley?
yeah, I turn
Down
around.
the main street.
I walk back. I want to. That's Yoke's wife. Remember, in the wheelchair. I want to talk to her. I know she can't talk, but I want to talk to her.
So you turn around.
Yeah.
Walter, light up a cigarette so it looks like you just came down for a smoke.
Lighting up my pipe.
We'll listen from the shadows.
Yeah, we'll be around the corner.
And there, the couple is this person that's pushing the wheelchair. They are still a bit off. And when you turn around and walk towards them, you see that it is a woman that's pushing the wheelchair and a man sitting in it. And you've seen them before. It's not York's wife, but it's the two persons you met in front of York's house.
Right.
Oh, right.
Before we
I don't
went in.
remember who they are. Can you?
They he said that the name was Kalbfleisch. He is a young man in his 30s. You didn't really talk to him. It was more that they fell into your eyes because he seemed to be disabled, maybe a war veteran, and she was quite an ugly woman. So she
Okay.
just stuck in your mind. And
Sure, yeah, I'll walk up to him.
Jörg said something about he asked them to talk to the Fuhrmacher parents. And when
that's the parents of the kids that died.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, I'll walk up to them, accentuate my limp with my stick, so I've got something in common with the war. That
It is all almost as if they don't know what to do. You see that that they realize that you're coming towards them, and the woman is like looking around it and maybe looking for an escape route, but realized that she won't be able to move away quickly enough with the disabled man. So she starts pushing into towards you.
Yeah. Good evening. Well met.
Good evening, sir.
Obviously,
she
I'm
tries
not
to
the only
walk
one who
back.
had a hard time sleeping tonight.
Oh yes, we just wanted to take a stroll, my brother and me. He looks, the man looks like a little bit embarrassed, maybe. He tries not to look at you.
I was wounded in the war as well, my knee, and that's actually why I couldn't sleep. My old injury was bothering me.
Oh yeah. That's why I asked my sister if we could take a nighttime stroll. It's not
I'm
always
sorry.
easy.
My name's Walter von Arenberg. I'm sorry. I'm misplacing your name, miss.
Kalbfleisch. My name's Anton Kalbfleisch. This and I missed. Holy crap. What was her name? I'm sorry.
Tasty Kalbfleisch.
No. Not Paula. That's it. That's my sister Paula.
Good evening, Paula. Nice to meet you.
Good evening, sir. And she looks a little bit snobbish, very cold.
Snobbish.
I think we should get back to back home. Don't
No,
you think?
no. Let's. I mean, two old soldiers, young soldiers. Let's talk. It's a beautiful night.
Well, yeah, but we should get back.
Where did you serve?
I was wounded in Verdun.
Many good men died there.
Yes, ruined many a man's life.
Mm-hmm. You seem to be adapting fairly well to your life.
I found a way to arrange myself. Yeah, but Anton, we really I have to work tomorrow morning.
You know, I've found sometimes in my dreams, I can escape and walk without a stick and without pain. Have you ever noticed that?
Dreams, well, it's sometimes nice to have dreams you can escape to, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah,
Well,
so and
that's all very well, but really, I need to get to bed.
are you
I'm
cold,
sorry.
Paula?
I'm
Here, let
sorry.
me have my coat. Have my coat.
No, it's just that I have
I
to.
can bring your
get
brother
back and,
back if you'd like.
Have a good night. And she
I can bring him
starts
home.
pushing off.
Well,
no,
I'll walk
I have to
along
take.
with him.
Well,
I'll
I
walk
have
you
to
back
take.
to your home. It's a beautiful night for a walk, and I can't sleep, as I said. Do you have a favorite dream?
Well, of course, I like to dream that I can walk again.
I've had both lovely dreams and frightening dreams ever since my service. One of my most frightening dreams, there's like this
Okay, so
giant lizard-like creature.
Okay, sir, this has gone far enough.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I being rude?
Well,
I apologize.
and as you push down the road, you see that you're getting closer to the front of the hotel, and you see that there was a policeman standing in front of the hotel.
I nod to him. Good evening, sir.
So would you please stop following us? And
I thought I was just having a nice conversation with you and your brother. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude.
it's the policeman. You're still a couple of feet away from him. It's this nosy investigative type, the one that Carl got head to head for the first time.
Yeah, sure.
What are you doing outside of the your
Good
hotel?
evening, Inspector. I sometimes have a hard time sleeping, so I got up to walk, fresh air, smoke my pipe, and I met these two lovely people, and I was
Well, yeah,
exchanging
now he's
stories about the war with
well, and now he's harassing us. Please, would you please leave us alone?
I
The man
certainly,
in
of
blue
course,
just
I'll
yelling,
leave you
Paula,
alone.
don't make
as I said,
don't make a fuss. He's just talking.
thank you.
So I want to go home, and I would appreciate it if this man wouldn't follow us.
I of course I won't follow you if you don't want me
So,
to.
and
But I was just having a nice chat with your brother. Do you want to continue our chat?
no, I
Cold
think
Flesh, I can push you
I think
home.
my sister's right. We should get
All
home.
right, very
Good
good.
evening.
Well, perhaps we could have coffee tomorrow and talk some more.
I don't know. We'll see.
Well
And
met. Have
the
a good
woman-
evening.
The woman pushes him away, and the policeman is looking at you. I think you should get back to your hotel room.
I'm just having a smoke. I hope that's okay. I'm not under arrest
Oh,
or suspicion of anything. I know you and my friend Carl had some disagreements, and of course the confusion over Hans and putting him in jail. But you and I have no bad blood. We are friends. Did you serve in the war?
Did he? I don't know. Yeah, sure did.
Oh, and where did you serve?
Well, he
Yeah, thereabout.
tells you.
But yeah, I'm just trying to keep him busy.
Yeah. So-
And talk to him and take all his attention, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, war stories. Share my pipe with him.
Do a charm.
Sure. I succeeded. Almost a hard success. I'm
Okay.
very charming.
So he basically loosens up quite a bit. And,
Great.
you start chatting about war times, and well, at some point he goes like You see, the mayor is really pissed off about all your nosing around and just I don't know if there's anything that can really be put against your friend. So why don't you guys just lay down and keep quiet and wait till all of this has settled down.
That's good advice. We are trying to be, very very respectful of your little village. It's a lovely place. As I said earlier when we spoke, reminds me of where I grew up. And I'm really looking forward to the festival this weekend. But my friends are looking for a missing man. And you wouldn't want someone else to die because they stopped looking, would you? Of course not. And perhaps you could help us. I mean, that's probably the best way for the mayor to get his wish, is for us to work together. You surely know everything around here much better than we do. We're stumbling through. Have you heard of this professor? I mean, he was of course with the young woman.
We put up those notices that we're looking for him.
And
there's a shitload of strange things happening here.
Yeah, it's scary. People in your little town must be really frightened. And I know you can take care of yourself and you can take care of them as well, but I'm sure they're frightened.
Well,
especially after what happened to the children.
Yeah, that was really disgusting. Never seen something like that.
Me either. I saw some horrors in the war, but at least those were adult men, not children.
So, you know what? I'm on duty tomorrow morning, and do me a favor, just get back to your room so I can.
Oh, of course.
So I can.
I'm starting to feel tired.
Well.
Good night. Sleep well.
And he lights a cigarette and turns around and strolls off.
Well, I didn't get as much from the couple as I'd hoped, but at least I got the cop off of our back.
So you get back to the room?
Yes, so.
I guess we go back because I guess we were kind of just in the distance.
Oh, let's hit the hay.
Okay. So everybody is settling down?
Yeah.
And as you basically expected, you find yourself back on this damn road.
We got supplies at least this time.
Yeah, you have supplies.
Marching boots.
Is Mr. Lack with us?
Yeah, there's all 5 of you.
How was the prison?
It's not designed to be punitive, but listen to old Mina cry herself to sleep.
Oh.
And snore and fart. She just lives alone.
Yeah.
She eats a lot of roots. She has no idea what happened. Let's see if we can make it to the city before we wake. We have these boots, and if we might be a lot freer to act here than we are in the real world.
Indeed.
We have food, clean water, some extra things we can actually sleep with, so at least we can camp easier now. So I guess we'll just get going.
You continue on this road, and as before, it's you have to set camp in the evenings.
just remembered we still have those vials of silence.
I hope you didn't throw them away.
We didn't. I did. Like we still have
You
like
still-
I think we still
no,
have
you
9
still-
of them.
you
I think
still
we still
have
have like
them.
2 of the cases of them. Yeah.
That could be used especially well if a wizard is trying to cast some horrible spell on us, and we can. throw
Or
it
if we're
at
just
him.
trying, or if we're trying to like hide our presence.
I have a horrible feeling that if Yoke was
version,
partly
yeah.
behind this, that we're going to encounter him in here at some point.
Yeah.
So
I hope so.
You can just have your conversation.
As we travel.
In essence, you will be walking on for a couple of days, and after basically a week of traveling, you finally see on the horizon the outline of a city. Imagine like a city from the Arabian Nights. So it's a high wall. It looks very bright from distance. It looks gay and colorful.
Towers and domes and things.
Towers
like
and domes, exactly.
A lot of curved structure, a lot of like curved tip structures.
And there are the road as you draw nearer is actually getting there's actually some traffic in front of the city gate. There are a couple of carts that are waiting in line, and around noon of next day, when you are close enough to actually see what's happening on the gate, you see that there are those lined up carts, and there seem to be like city guards that are standing on each side of the gate.
Do we get any indication that this is Ilarnak? Like a road sign or something?
No road sign.
How are the
But
guards?
now there, as you draw close, there are people here.
Oh,
As I said, there are a couple of carts lining up, a couple of people walking towards the city gate.
Just to
You
double
can't
check.
really tell where they came from because you didn't meet anyone on the road, but now there are people starting to queue up.
Means
Are there
they-
any near me, near where we are?
Yeah, sure.
I'd like to approach one.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Is there a big event this today or tomorrow? A
In
fair,
Ilarnak,
perhaps?
there are always events here. There's one of the busiest cities here in this part.
So people are lining up to sell their wares at a local market.
Well, there's a market every day. There's several markets.
And as a visitor to this fine city, what would you suggest I pick up? What is the city known for? What kind of crafts?
Oh, all kinds. Everything from all parts.
we're strangers to the territory. Is this who rules this city?
The new council.
It's a council. You say new council.
Well, that's what it's what it has been called for ages.
Well, not really new council anymore.
Well, you can say that.
Was it a city before the new council, or was it ruled by a king or an emperor?
Oh, that's a good question. That's so long ago. There are stories. I think it was ruled by the merchants. But that's ancient history. And as you're talking, you see that you're drawn closer to the actual gates, and you see there are those two guards.
How are they dressed? Like in
Uh,
medieval armor,
yeah.
or
Well, like in Arabian Nights style guards. So
Sashes, scabbards,
And are they-
sashes,
turban.
flowing clothes, and they have spears.
Are they stopping people, or are they just more or less
They are
overseeing
actually
this?
just watching them come walk through, and they seem like a little bored. They're basically talking to each other and not really giving much of a notice to the people
Yeah.
moving through. But as you're watching them, there's a figure comes out from the city gate, like a hunched over figure, wrapped all in shawls and this robe with the hood drawn low over the face, and the shawl around his face. So you don't see any part of the actual figure, but just his clothing. And you get this stench of stale water, and it reeks of somehow fish. And the moment this figure appears, the two guards suddenly spring into action. They walk up to a man with his cart. They stop him, start looking around in his stuff. And the other figure, the rope figure, just disappears into the gate again. Tom, you're muted.
He was coming out of the city, and then he turned
He
around
was
and went back in.
basically stepping out of the city gate. He turned his head around, like he was looking around, looking in the direction of the two guards, and at that point they suddenly sprang into action. He didn't
They
say
didn't want
one.
him to leave the city, which is interesting.
No, the cart that's coming was coming in.
Oh, okay, that's so he was trying to get into the city, and they more or less prevented him.
No, they didn't prevent him, but they started to prod him and ask some questions what he's doing. But whereas before they were just basically minding their own business, and now they actually start getting mean to the people.
We couldn't really see who the guy was, but we could see his robes.
Yeah,
and smell the fishy smell.
Exactly. So the guards don't prevent anyone from getting in. They just take a look at the wares, and at some point, it's your turn.
Yeah, I'm just
they
going to.
look at you, and you. So state your business.
Oh, we're just travelers. We'll just refreshment, and then we'll go on our way.
So welcome to the great city of Ilarnik. Don't cause any trouble here.
Of course not.
Of course.
And they let you pass through.
What's their ethnicity? I mean, are they like German or Middle Eastern or
no? Rather Middle Eastern.
Okay.
And the city you're entering is really bustling city. There must be hundreds of thousands of people on the streets. There's a big main street running down straight from the gate. People are walking everywhere. So
If it's like the last dream city we visited, the offices of authority will be in the middle of town, perhaps, if we follow
Most-
this main road in.
Most splendid buildings, probably.
Yeah, I don't think we're in Berlin anymore.
No.
It's a council, so there should be like a big council-like building instead of a big palace-like building.
And
So you just let yourself just walk down the street and take a look around.
keep an eye out for that robed fishy fellow.
Actually, from time to time you see figures like that one.
So there are both guards and maybe religious
They
guards.
they just appear out from alleys, walk through the crowd of people. The people always kind of shrink back as soon as they see them. There's usually just one, or from time to time two of them together.
And they wear black robes or brown robes.
Brown, greenish robes.
Is it the sort of thing where the cowl is over the head and
Yeah,
the
it's like
arms
the
are...
cowl is over the head and there's a scarf around the face, so you basically don't really see anything of them.
Yeah.
But people always to seem shrink back as soon as they see them.
Do we see any other dreamers? I mean, we stand out as looking different, right?
Not that much.
Well, we're dressed in dreamland clothes.
There are people in all kinds of the garb that's basically between somewhere between Middle Eastern and medieval European clothes.
Are we hearing a multitude of different languages?
Yeah, you do.
We're in a travel hub.
But usually, most people there are a lot of people that you can understand.
I think we should ask somebody about these robed figures, who they are.
I mean, do we think all these people are like us, like they're dreamers, or are these natives to this realm?
I mean, it might either or. Might be. As we've been told, we're not the first, and we're probably never the last.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm quite parched. I think we should head to the tavern and
Well, there are taverns on the way.
we could talk to a local.
Always a good choice.
What kind of drinks they have?
So you find yourself a tavern.
We don't actually have any. We don't actually have any currency though.
Well,
Are you
as
sure?
you check, Walter, you actually have realized that you have coins in a pouch on your belt. You didn't.
I have some money in my pouch here.
Never realized that. You can remember that pouch.
Yeah, I don't know where the pouch came from. I wonder if I think about it hard enough, if I'd get a pipe too. I pat my pockets.
Do dreaming check.
And I kind of wish we could.
You still have your you still have your horse.
I saw the 0 come up and I was like, "Yay!" And then I saw the other 0.
Why does that happen so? That happens so
Oh
often.
my god! What does a dreaming fumble doing this?
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
You pull out a centipede.
Let me think for a moment there.
Don't make something happen to my horse. I love that horse.
You shouldn't have told me that. So, yeah, you basically you pat yourself down, looking for a pipe and pipe weed, and as you put your hand into a pocket in your clothing, you pull it out and it is all covered in blood.
That's really gross.
So then,
So you-
is it Walter and my character at the tavern? Is that, or
well, you're still on the way to the
on the way? Okay, all right.
to the tavern.
So Walter reaches into his pouch to pull out some
Yeah,
coins.
he,
and it's-
he basically puts his hand into a folder of his clothing and
I see.
pulls out, and his whole hand is covered in blood.
I don't like this place.
And people around you look at you and are staring at you.
It's just a cut. Just a cut. I'm fine. Thank you for your concern.
Merely a flesh wound.
I wipe my hand on the dirt road and then try to, like brush it off.
And people are moving away a bit from you. And you see two of those robed figures coming down the road. And they seem to be moving directly towards you.
Where's that tavern?
You're basically right in front of one.
Do we pop in or do we talk to these people?
I don't know. There's people everywhere.
This is a dream. I just wait for them.
I'm gonna shuffle inside real quick.
I'll be
I'll give you
nearby.
some coins for drinks. I'll meet you guys inside.
All right.
Maybe-
I'll wait near
pull
the
apart the
entrance just in
beads
case.
and step inside.
But if anybody wants to stay
Cool
with me,
interior.
they're welcome to.
We should leave one person with Walter. I don't mind.
I'll
Maybe
go
I'll
to
be
the
in
You're
entrance.
jail in two
staying
worlds.
outside.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hans.
Those two figures just walk towards you, and they seem to look you up and down.
I'm trying to take a really good look to see if we can see their faces or anything that's identifying, even to tell if they're human or not.
Well, they're a bit smallish and stocky, you'd say. They, as I said, they just seem to be mustering you.
I say, well
And
met.
they just walk past you and do a spot hidden.
I rolled 27 and my spot hidden is 35.
So as they walk past you and as you're trying to get a good look at them, you can't see anything of their skin or anything, but you notice that you don't see their feet because the ropes are falling down over their feet, but the prints they're leaving in the mud, they look claw-like.
Lizard man. Is there a tail dragging behind them? Okay. Yeah. I let him go by and head on in. Come on, Hans, let's get a drink.
I wonder what they were looking for. What's in your hand?
My no,
You
I missed part of what you're.
you
yeah,
basically
go.
wipe the blood off.
Yeah, I was looking for my horse and it was all bloody.
The horse is still in your bag. Someone
Yeah.
take away your horsey.
You just had a bad dream turn
I don't really know.
and icky. Or
Yeah. But I'm okay, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not hurt.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let's go get that drink.
So you sit down at a table, get some drinks.
So what's the interior like? Is it like a European pub? German
Well,
pub?
it's no, not
English
really
pub?
like a European pub. It's more like Arabic cafe house.
With the big pipes that they what the hookahs?
Yeah. Exactly.
They're Caterpillar.
Caterpillar
Oh.
at the hookah.
So you order some drinks. They bring you refreshments, and there's a couple of people sitting around drinking and smoking.
Is there signage, or is this culture not very literate, so they don't write a lot of things down?
No. What kind of signs are you looking for?
Well, I'm looking both for, the name of the tavern over the, behind the bar. Also, I'm looking to see if there are newspapers or.
No, there's no newspapers or anything. The bar has a name. The Dancing Winch.
Do we have a hookah at our table?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Pick up the hose and take a toke.
So you, as you sit there smoking, the waiter comes over to your table again. You have like one of those small those cushions and low table you sit around. So you're travelers from foreign parts, I'm guessing. You seem a bit lost.
You don't know the half of it.
Took quite a long. It took a lot of days to get here.
We have been trying to find our way down a very long and twisted road indeed. We're actually here looking for some friends. Other dreamers from our town.
There are a lot of dreamers in this town.
But also Friel and Issa. Probably
Oh,
mispronounce those names.
Priyan. You mean Freela? Do you
Trila
mean
and Issa, yeah.
the magnet? The trading magnet.
Indeed. We have some business to do with him. We do.
We have ties back to Celetheus.
Well, he's one of the, if not the biggest pulp merchants in Ilarnik. He trades in furs and stuff.
Of course. He and his wife have always been magnificently fortunate in business. They're very canny people.
They have. He has ruined many of the old merchants here in town.
Well, you know how tides change. Fortunes rise and fall. Is there a neighborhood in the city where the newly well-to-do cluster, or have they gone into politics since they've arrived? We haven't written in a long time.
Many of the richer people, they live on the western on the eastern side of the river, a bit away from the temple district, if you know what I mean.
Right, fewer robed types and more genteel.
Exactly.
That must be a beautiful view when the sun rises in the morning.
Oh yes, it's on one of the 7 hills.
I'm a bit newer than my other friends here. I haven't met one of the robed figures before, but they seem to incite something in the guards.
Wrath of Bokruk, yeah, they are the arm of the council. You don't want to mix with those got entangled with those people.
The Breath of Bokrug, okay.
They if you get in
What's
trouble
this?
with them, you won't be seen again.
What's this Bokrug?
Bokrug, he's our god. He watches over our town.
Ah,
He was the god of another people before, was he not?
Well, I guess so. He was brought here from the south.
Do you have any Christian churches in the city?
Your dream is. I always forget about them. No, I would. If I were you, I wouldn't
Mention that
Right.
again.
try to bring any other religion to this town. You can live comfortably here, and you can do basically whatever you like. All wishes can be fulfilled in this town, but you don't want to offend Bokrug and the council and the breath of Bokrug.
So he's a jealous god.
Oh yes. At least his servants are jealous. They're defending what is theirs.
The city, you mean?
Of
Or what
course.
else? What else are they guarding?
The city. This is
There.
well. This is the city of Bokrug, and they won't let any other religion come here.
You're very right about wishes coming true, by the way. I was looking for a smoke and we found here. Thank you.
So, what are you here to see? You could go to the arena for some excellent sportive festival, or maybe you're more in mind of the slave market. Pretty girls there.
Festival, you say?
Yes.
Oh, what is being celebrated at the arena?
Well,
Are
there are competitions basically every day. They used to be more bloody, but since our recent champion has conquered every game, they're more sportive, like wrestling and running and things.
Perhaps archery?
Well, I think he's doing that as well. Nobody can best him in anything.
What's his name?
Question. His ACAF.
A calf. How long has he been champion here? His fame has not reached us, but we've been traveling.
For a long time. For years and years.
What would you say is his chief triumph?
Well, everything sport. You name the discipline, and he's beaten all of the competition.
He must be greatly favored by Bokrug.
Oh yes, I think so.
Is he pious, do you know?
Couldn't tell.
Does he also live on the eastern side of the river?
I think he lives more or less on
the
within
arena.
the arena.
And since you seem so knowledgeable about goings on here in the city, is there Any rumor of an unnatural sleeper here in Alarnak? Someone under a compulsion or a...
Unnatural sleeper? What do you mean by that?
Someone who, even here in the Dreamlands, is compelled to be unconscious by some spell or gash or binding.
No, I wouldn't know that.
We were visited by 7 sons, 7 generations of sons, and they are desirous to awaken some sleeper.
In a tower.
He looks quite flummoxed.
Well, not even the most informed local can know everything after all.
So,
Walter, would you give the man a remuneration, and can we have another round of these drinks, please?
sure,
Of
sure.
course.
And he walks off.
Well, I think we don't want to go to the 7 hills across the river because
No.
they will
I'm trying to remember.
probably
but
recognize us.
The tower was in here in this city, or was it nearby the city? I forget if that's
I
what
think
they
the
told us.
tower's in Alarnak. I think that's what the dwarves told us. This was our destination,
There's
not
only so
another
many
stop.
towers. There's only so many.
Yeah.
Well, probably the biggest one.
Which one has brambles at its steps?
And long hair flowing out of an upper window.
From what you remember from that first dream, there was like a very rundown park area where the tower stood.
Yeah, all over
Here,
ground
everything
brambles.
is quite alive and bustling.
Right.
But the town seems to be quite big. So
Yeah. It's kind of a relief to not be in jail and also not in that village of conspiratorial inbred weirdos, frankly. But we are a little lost. At least we didn't rush to the council and just get grabbed up by Ibians.
So you leave the tavern again, and walk around town, or what are your plans?
I think, yeah, let's try a town center. I'm assuming that most of the roads are going to converge.
Well,
Walled
actually,
cities.
the streets are quite convoluted, and they do many turns, and so you just let yourself flow with the crowd, and at some point you see a big amphitheater a bit off to the side, and you see you're basically drawn to a big square in front of it, and there's a lot of like a whole row of statues lining this square, and they all depict basically the same person. A tall, muscular man in different poses, like with a spear, in a wrestling match, and he has his opponent on the ground, running. So basically, in every kind of sport discipline.
The great ACAF is very modest, apparently.
I guess it's ACAF, and then they make a statue of each champion of a sport.
I bet I know what the face looks
Like ancient Rome.
Walter,
does it
you
look like...
immediately recognize the face.
Yeah.
It's
Hair called Fleisch.
the face of the man in the wheelchair.
Called Flesh.
Yeah.
Oh.
We gotta find him.
Oh, I see. So this entire
I've made
town
friends with him.
So this town is full of the dreamers of Jailhouse.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I don't recall, did the server tell us where ACAF lived?
He said it in the arena.
At the arena. Let's find him.
Maybe he knows something. Or at least Get some clout.
So you the square is pretty crowded. You move towards the arena, and there are a lot of hallways also lined with statues, and they're basically all of this one person. You ask around for him, I guess, and people pretty easily point you towards the area, the residential area where he's supposed to live.
Yeah, I'll head there.
Do you recall what his first name is?
Anton.
Anton.
Anton Cloud.
And this was the gentleman who was outside of the yoke house when we arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
with a woman,
In
right?
discussion about making some kind of arrangement with the bereaved parents of Hansel and Gretel. So the people who are selling out the old ladies and children of Seehusen have nice lives here in the dream.
It seems to be exactly as I guessed. When he dreams, he has his body and his health back.
Sure. So the entire conspiracy that we're encountering might be taking place here.
Yeah. Which
And
is
what's going on in Seehausen is just the external result of it.
Yeah,
The side effects.
to keep it all under
Well,
wraps.
But the sacrifices that are made in our world are what give these people power here.
We don't know that. It could be that, remember the ex-school teacher told us that people who are too young are somehow finding their way into the Dreamlands. So something terrible could have happened to the kids here.
And as we were walking, Locke, didn't you say something about Mina telling you about a bunch of women?
Yeah, the last incursion seems to have involved a lot of unintended pregnancies that got fostered off,
So
not assuming entirely human.
so every 58 years a sinkhole happens and a gate between the city and that and Shehusen appears,
And
possibly.
there's a
Exchanges
slave
are
market
made.
where there are pretty girls. And
Yeah, and a lot of the women who found themselves unmarried and with child ended their own lives. So there's a huge human cost.
Here's
Yeah.
an interesting thought. So in the older material, the young women were being captured and disappeared.
Into the lakes, yeah.
And
by fish people, by
Maybe.
yeah. And maybe our friend, Herr Yoke, made some deal so
Hundreds of
that,
years ago.
yeah,
These coins
maybe
represent the tether.
maybe things have changed. So rather than them being killed, they're just kidnapped.
And taken
and
here.
also being the sudden tie to Bokrug. So the statue was taken from Sarnath to Bokrug to Ilarnak.
Arnak.
Well, to Sarnath first, which was destroyed. And now Bokrug is worshipped again here.
And do we
And-
think these robed people are Ibians?
Smells like it.
Perhaps. In this case, they're at least
So
I
they're
guess-
still treated badly here, but at the same time,
they're also the
they're
secret police.
tolerated.
They have
Or-
clawed
They
feet.
rather seem to be feared.
Yeah,
They're a feared but unpopular elite.
but they're not hunted to extinction here.
No, they're powerful. And again, they're colluding with
They live here. They probably have in touch with the power of this world.
So as you're discussing that, you found your way to the area where the great Acaf is supposed to live, and there's a couple of guards standing in front of the entrance to his living quarters. They look
Looks
at
like
you. And, what do you want here?
This looks like a you, Walter.
Hello, gentlemen. I'm close friends with ACAT in the waking world, and I just had a conversation with him last night, and I'd like to continue our conversation. Can you let him know that Walter von Arenberg is here to talk with him?
Wait a second. And one of them turns around and walks into the opens the door, walks inside, and after a couple of moments, he comes back out. The master wants to asks to see you.
Fantastic. Come along, friends.
So you enter a lavish area, a big hall lined with pillars. There are comfy cushions all over the place. And at the very back, in front of a small fountain, there stands the same guy you saw sitting in the wheelchair just a couple of hours ago. He is clad like an old Greek athlete, so just a little toga, and with oiled muscles. And he looks pretty surprised to see at you.
Hello, my friend. You look fantastic here. I'm so glad that we could meet.
He looks
as I
at
mentioned, my knee is not hurting.
He looks at the guard and makes a hand waving motion, and they leave the room.
Oh, I'm sorry. Of course, not in front of the help.
You must be idiots or insane.
Probably both.
We've gone through a lot.
I mean, after all, I'm dreaming and speaking to someone I met in the real world. I think really, I'm just dreaming.
Plus, we had to walk here for like 2 months.
But did I do something wrong? Please explain.
Do you have any idea in what kind of danger you are?
No.
Quite.
Please tell me.
If the council finds out about you, if they find you, and my sister will fret on you, if they know that you found your way to this city, they will do anything to kill you.
Is your sister here as well? Is she on the council?
What? No, of course we're not on the
I'm
council.
sorry. How would
No.
she threaten me? I'm misunderstood.
Explain the situation to us. We still don't understand anything.
Although
I
I'm
met
wo-
travelers from outside the
From the
city. so-
beginning.
I have one guess, which is that his sister is very beautiful here.
I won't tell you who my sister is here. I'm not ratting her out.
Which is not Issa then?
Fair enough.
There are people here from Seehusen. We have means to reach our dreams in this world, and none of us want to lose these means.
Of course not.
So if you started to snoop around in our town, so do you think they will risk you interfering with their dreams?
My friend, as I mentioned, I'm very happy that I'm here without the pain in my knee and my limp, and I am very happy for you. And the last thing I would want to do is take that away from you. But we have a person we're looking for, the professor. That's all we need. We're trying to find and help him. So if you can tell us what's going on, help us so that we can find him and get out of your way, so you can continue this wonderful life you have for yourself. I knew you would have such a wonderful life in the dream. Did I not tell you?
I don't know what happened to this professor. I know that my sister has something to do with it, but as I told you, I'm not calling out on my sister.
Of course not.
Who said that was the beautiful that his sister would be?
That was Locke.
Hans.
Hans. Do Hans and Walter do basically everyone do a psychology for that scene? You're all seeing him.
The fail.
Well, I don't.
Oh, I just made it. 69 out of 70.
I failed.
The moment when Hans mentioned the his sister being very beautiful, that struck home. You definitely think that she here would be some that's exactly what she would be here, like the most beautiful woman or something like that.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So just
See, yeah, I don't know
go
what
ahead.
what happened there, and I'm not interested in it. Here, my paints are gone, so I try to be in this world as much as I can.
How do you come here?
What? I'm sorry. Well, what compels you to return to the other world? I mean, what?
Well, I wake up.
So the body so there's no way to kind of maintain a sleep to stay here.
Not that I know of.
Are you not concerned that what is going on here is bleeding over into our world? And
What do I care about? What do I care about what happens in this piece of shit that destroyed my whole life? I used to have a life, and then I was thrown into that war. So why should I care for what happens in that world? Here I am someone.
People in Seehausen are murdering one another and eating children. That doesn't bother you?
You know what atrocities I've seen during the war? So you won't tell me that whatever happens in our so-called real world, that I should be afraid of it? That I should fear for my fellow humans?
I didn't say anything like fear, but compassion.
Concern.
Henning, I think that
I didn't get much compassion when I returned from the war.
I didn't either, but that's not the point.
But we're not here to debate the ethics of the entire village of Seehausen and alienate everyone from there. We're here to find Professor Erling and return him safely to the bosom of his family.
That's true.
Wow.
So
That was our only reason.
Herr Anton, if I may ask, the connection between Professor Erling and this place seems to be the girl who can't wake up. Do you know where she is, or if there's something we can do in the dream to get her back to her normal state so we can recover our professor and go back to Berlin and leave you all alone?
what do you care about this girl?
Again, I'm in love with the professor's daughter. My friend Mr. Prince is in love with the professor's wife. It's a long story. The point is, we want to bring the professor back to normal life intact.
That's news to me, but
We've been hired to do a job.
We're just loyal. I'm committed to my.
I don't
my
know what
job.
he's talking about. Yes, all we're looking for is the professor. Get the professor. We'll be on our way.
Hans, do persuade.
Hans know how to persuade.
Persuade or charm.
How old is this dog?
I have more charm. It's a regular only.
Listen, I know that my sister has taken this girl somewhere. I don't know where. And
Oh, do you think that Paula is jealous of her beauty? Like some sort of wicked queen?
she is very jealous of everyone who's beautiful in the waking world.
Yeah, it's only human.
I don't know where she took her, and I can just advise you: get out of this dream, get out of this town before something happens to you. Leave Seehusen.
Is there a danger to our physical bodies if we
What do you think?
stay here?
Would you tell us who the counts, the people are in Seehosen?
Because they're not going to let us. They're not going to let us leave till after the festival.
Well, there.
The mayor?
Obviously, Herr Joch, obviously.
Yeah,
Yoch?
The mayor? No.
he does seem like a patsy.
He's just a
Mayor is
pawn.
not. The mayor is not one of us dreamers.
Yoch? What about
Well,
Mina?
I don't know who York is here, but he is the one who gives us the ability to come here.
Yeah.
With the
How does he
coins
do
in
that?
the necklace.
Oh, I see. You sleep with a coin in your hand.
Daniel,
does he?
Daniel, do a spot hidden.
Yeah, it's like, is there a coin? Actually, is there a coin on him? Let's see. That's let me see. That might be an extreme. Probably not. Actually, that is an extreme. That's a 12.
Okay. When you mention when you're talking about the way that he can that he gives you and then the ability, you see that his hand wanders to a small pouch on his belt.
There's
Yeah.
only about
Like,
I guess
looks like an unconscious movement.
someone protecting their greatest thing. Yeah, but we've seen the chain of it. There's only about I guess 4 coins left.
On the chain?
Only 4 of the actual coins from
No,
here.
they're on the chain. They're quite a lot of
Yes.
those coins.
Yes, but there's only a handful left of the coins from this place. The rest are coins from the waking world. Eventually, there will not be any left if they keep skipping them out.
You're saying that? Or you're
Yeah.
thinking that?
Actually, I don't know if that's terrible to say or not.
Well, we have mentioned the coins now.
I think I do say it because it's like I think I do say it as like possibly insinuating the idea that he might end up just taking the coins back because there's only so many to use.
how do you know about the? How do you know about the coins?
We're detectives. We figured it out.
We find a lot of things and we go through a lot of places.
You're under a misconception, my friends. We don't get those coins in the waking world. We get them here.
Yes, they're Ibian coins.
There's no shortage of these coins.
Yeah, the
You can get them
mechanisms.
back into the real world.
Is that what the sinkholes are for?
Bring them over. Resupply yourselves.
Do you know yet what the disaster will be this festival? Last time it was a
The
ball
train
of
wave
fire.
fire.
I don't know about any disaster. And frankly, I don't care. Okay, you know what? I told you. I warned you.
You have been very generous.
And now I ask you to leave me.
Yes, indeed. We'll see you in the waking land for the festival. Have a good dream. And I will protect your sister if I can.
It's not our
Unless-
intention to ruin any of this. We just need the professor.
And it's that girl in the tower that knows the last place he was.
And as you turn around and leave, you hear this obnoxious knocking sound. It's like explosions, and they start to convert into knocking, like knocking on the door. Hello, get up, get up.
We wake up.
Yeah, you wake up. You're lying in your bed.
I was grabbing one of the vials and putting it in my sleeve just in case. just in case to toss it.
Yeah, you're all lying in your beds.
Uh-huh. What? Who is it?
Please get out.
Does that sound like the friend or the voice of the guy that I befriended earlier?
Yeah, it does.
What's his name?
Voberg.
Voberg, what's up?
Get up. The mayor wants to see you.
Okay, well, give us 15 minutes. We'll come out.
If we wanted to
So-
see the mayor, wouldn't we have to make an appointment? Maybe he needs to make an appointment.
Well, all of you.
Of course, he can
Get
see
up.
me whenever.
Yeah, we get up.
Yeah, let's get dressed.
And
Take
you're
my
basically
time.
all.
Make sure I look good.
You're basically all ushered to the town hall and to the mayor's office, and even Hans
Is brought in.
is brought in. So the five of you are in the mayor's office, and the mayor isn't inside, so you're made to wait a couple of minutes. There are some sofas, so you take.
It's a psychological tactic. So.
And at one point, the mayor storms in, slams the door behind himself.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Good morning.
You notice he looks terrible. He looks like he hasn't slept.
Hmm.
He is. His eyes are completely sunken in. He has deep shadows on his eyes. His suit is basically in disarray.
Had a terrible nightmare.
Insomnia.
I look at our friend and say, "Oh, the mayor clearly needs some coffee. Can you go get him a cup, Mayor?
Yes,
is there
please
anything
get-
I can do for you? You look like
Please
you're
get us something to drink, some coffee,
you're really suffering."
and leave us alone. Okay. what you've been implying that something is going on in my town.
Something is going on in your town. We don't have to
Because of this
imply
one,
it.
it's
It's like
Some
yes,
things
something,
have
something's
happened.
What do you know what it is?
No,
It's hard to place, but there's a lot of seams.
We
we're
have
getting
some
closer, but we don't
ideas.
know.
My son
This-
has had an accident last night.
Your son.
Oh,
What sort of accident?
This is completely insane. My son fell from a he was trying to climb up to the window of his fiance,
what was he
And-
climbing on?
You say fiance, was he planning on to elope with her, or
well,
Was he just
Well,
trying to
he-
do
I
something a
don't-
bit crazy?
I don't know. All I know is that he told me he wanted to pay her a visit. Her parents were out of the house.
So I just know he just didn't go into like the front door. Huh.
That is what I'm not. I can't understand that. The girl, she seemed to have cut the gratings where he tried to climb up.
Mhm.
They're engaged. Why?
She almost
tried to-
attempted
she
to
tried to
murder
hurt
him.
him.
He's in Göttingen at the hospital. He seems to have injured his spine. He can't move his legs.
Wow, it's
Oh
terrible.
no, that's terrible.
and a
Listen,
girl?
Who is the girl?
She is the daughter of one of the bigger factory owners here.
Can you tell us what time this happened?
Carla Poland's.
Carla Poland's?
Yeah.
This happened around like.
What
10 to
time did
9?
it happen?
Like something like 2:00 this night.
2:00 in the morning.
Oh, he was.
The girl was
Mm.
asleep when he
Yeah,
arrived.
but my son told me that he was waiting for that they were that they arranged the time. He wasn't. He was supposed to visit her. Well, her parents were out of town.
Yes.
Did she say that she knew what she was doing? Or
No,
Mayor, we're sorry for your distress. Up until now, we've been treated with some hostility. Are you asking for our assistance? Because we will give it.
God damn it!
if you-
Yes, I am asking you.
all right.
All right. Then we will add it to our list of investigations. If you give us some ability to investigate, we've got there's something very strange going on here. We've tried to look at certain town records and been blocked. Will we be allowed to look at them?
I still don't understand what the town records has to do with anything. But sure,
We
go
don't
ahead.
either. Oh, excellent. Excellent.
I don't care.
I
for
think
one,
yeah, go ahead.
may I, for one, am relieved to realize that you are not part of the strange little conspiracy that has somehow
What,
visited your town.
There's been a
what
history.
conspiracy?
There's been a history of this town of people just doing things without understanding why they do it, and it leading to the loss of life.
You know, poor Mina did not mean to poison that child. The cat lady killed herself with remorse after murdering Hansel and Gretel. There are people working against the well-being and stability of this village, I'm afraid.
A random hunter thought a girl was a wolf.
But what are you implying? That how
We're
can
not implying
anybody
anything.
How can
It's just-
anyone conspire to do something like that?
Mr. Mayor, we are investigating, and that means that we are finding all of this information. We're putting it together and we're trying to come up with an answer, but we haven't got all the information yet. So that's why we need records. That's why we need to look at things. That's why we need to ask questions. If we didn't ask the questions, we wouldn't have all the pieces and we wouldn't figure it out. But I tell you, if we find the pieces, we can put the story together. And it has to do with the professor. It has to do with some people who live here in Seehausen. It has to do with the history. It has to do with the people who are committing crimes that don't seem to know that they're committing crimes.
At least not until it's over.
We don't know, but we are going to figure it out and stop it. We certainly want to stop it.
How can I help you? See, I wouldn't know why my son might be disabled for the rest of his life. I want to find how to.
Well, we need to talk to the
made him
girl.
do this stupid thing.
Well, Mr. Mayor, unfortunately, there's nothing we could do about that. What happened to your son does fit into this larger pattern, as Detective Henning mentioned. And it's quite likely that finding Professor Airley might be the key to putting all the puzzle pieces together.
You're the mayor. You have a great deal of knowledge about the town. What is the overall religion of the town, or is it not a very religious place?
Well, we're good Christians. What else? Well, expect for we have a Jewish community, but a small one. But
which church do you attend? Are you Lutheran?
yeah,
Do you see a lot of people at church every Sunday, or just a handful?
Sure.
I don't know. There seems to be an odd religious undercurrent here that's not Christian. And
What undercurrent?
There's a pagan influence to the way that these strange old stories are.
What do you mean? This is some sect operating here? Or?
I don't know that I would.
Maybe those Muslims.
No, they're
something older.
I'm wondering,
Like
from your
away.
experience, are there any people in your town that have raised little red flags in your mind? You know, people who claim to be Lutheran, but in fact they do and act in strange ways.
Imagine what you're talking about. I mean, to be quite frank, not everyone is a devoted Christian, but.
Well, I have a question. We know that the Yoch family. Oh, by the way, when did his wife suffer her illness?
I couldn't tell you.
Well, so we know that they're
years ago.
We know that the Yochs are friendly with the Kalbfleisch family and with the Biela family.
Oh, yeah, I guess they're members of the rifle club, and Yoke is the chairman.
Yeah, and you're a member of the rifle club, of course.
Well, yes, I am a member, but
is there?
As a politician, you have to basically attend certain clubs if you want get votes.
Would you say there was
what has the rifle club to do with anything?
Would you say there was something like a core membership, old families, like the Yorks have been here for so many centuries? Is there a group?
Do they? I couldn't even say.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons we are interested in the town records. We've noticed some names turning up year after year when strange things happen. And, you know, this weekend, of course, is the most important weekend in the village. and Herioch is responsible for all of that. And just before that event, all of these terrible incidents happen. The children, your son, the girl who can't wake up, that we're looking into because of our professor. All of these things.
So, what do you say that's all connected, and that has connection to the rifle club?
Maybe.
I mean, you asked for if there are any strange religious people, and the Paula Kaltfleisch is a parish helper. She works for a priest.
Oh, that parish. That makes a lot of sense.
Was I only happened across Fraulein Paula. Did she have an accident, or was she always just unfortunate like that?
If you never thought about it,
You mean that she's one of the ugliest biddies I've ever seen? I think she was always like that.
Yeah, it makes people very bitter. You know, this sort of misfortune, her brother's injuries in the war, her loneliness. Sometimes people behave strangely when they're in pain. And when a group of people who all have these deep resentments get together and then other strange things happen, well, we're trying to figure it out, that's all. And we would love, if it's possible, to speak to your son's fiancée as soon as we can and see if she understands
might
what
be
happened.
under a great deal of stress.
Sure.
I would also suggest Mayor. What we're telling you now, we're telling you in confidence because it's part of our investigation. I wouldn't go
Telling anyone about this.
telling anyone just because it might put you in more danger. We've been suspecting that we might be getting into some serious danger here. So be careful. We will keep you informed. And now we're working for you. So
you want to? What are you planning now? You want to go to check the town records, or
just
leave it
to us. Just make sure that your people know that they don't want to, that they shouldn't get in our way or hinder us in our investigation.
Yeah, sure.
And by the way, some of your officers are excellent. Yeah, and what our plan is, some of us will visit your son's fiancée, and some of us will look at the town records, and we'll keep you up to date.
Okay, and I think we'll cut it there.
Cool. Our players included Brian Ridge, David Gasaway, Max Stool, Steve Anderson, and myself, with Pascal Breitenfeld as our keeper of the secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with our other members. You can set up private games. You can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.